taking a really fascinating look at the ultimate human survival tool. Today, we're exploring the concept of the brain, not just as an organ, but literally as a weapon. Specifically, it's a two-front battleground. On one side, you've got this internal fight, right? The fight to keep going when every single cell in your body just wants to quit. And then, on the other side, we have the external fight to remain sharp, witty, and articulate when social or professional pressure spikes. If you've ever felt your mind completely abandon you right when you needed it the most, well, you are in exactly the right place.
So here is your personal training plan for mastering your mind today. We'll start with number 1, your brain under pressure. 2, forging internal mental toughness. 3, defeating the blank mind. 4, sharpening your delivery mechanics. And finally, 5, the safe zone training.
Consider the sheer weight of this quote from David Goggins. Your brain is the most powerful weapon you possess. Really think about that for a second. Whether you're suffering through the freezing surf of Navy SEAL training, or maybe you're a student suddenly called on by a strict teacher, or an employee put on the spot by your boss. The environment is totally different, sure, but the core weapon you're relying on, it's exactly the same. Your brain alone dictates your success or your failure in that split second.
But, here is the elephant in the room. If it's such a powerful weapon, why on earth does it jam? Why does it completely freeze up when you need it the most? It's a universal pain point for sure. You know the exact feeling. You're in an argument, your mind goes completely blank, and then 3 hours later, you're in the shower, and you suddenly think of 1,000 perfect, brilliant replies. Or maybe you hit a physical wall, and your brain just screams at you to quit. Why does it betray us like this?
Which brings us to section 1, your brain under pressure.
To fix the machine, we first have to understand the internal mechanics, right? So let's look at the actual science of the freeze. It's called an amygdala hijack. Psychology shows us that when we face high authority figures or enter critical, high-stress situations, our confidence just absolutely plummets. And why is that? Because our mind gets instantly flooded with this tidal wave of doubt. What is that person thinking of me? What if I say something stupid? And this flood triggers a primal response. And your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is the part that holds all those witty replies and rational thoughts, it temporarily shuts down. It essentially pulls the plug on your logic.
And this brilliantly illustrates the two distinct states of the human mind. On the left side, we have the untrained brain. Now, this one is entirely controlled by a desire for comfort. When pressure hits, it goes blank. It's kind of like swinging a rusty axe at a massive tree. It's ineffective, and honestly, it's just exhausting. But then, on the right side, we have the trained brain. This brain purposefully creates a new normal where discomfort is actually expected. Under pressure, it doesn't freeze. It computes. It generates smart, almost AI-like replies. It is a highly sharpened axe. So how exactly do we sharpen it? Let's move right into section 2, forging internal mental toughness.
This is the very first front of the battle, and we're drawing heavily here from the extreme trials of David Goggins. Goggins argues that if you don't actively tell your brain where you want to go, it's just going to take the wheel and steer you right back to your comfortable couch. You have to actively command its direction. And he did this through relentless repetition. Like, when he struggled to learn and study, he didn't just quit. He wrote concepts down over and over and over until they finally stuck. But perhaps most incredibly, during Navy SEAL Hell Week, when his body was literally breaking down, he survived by reframing extreme physical pain. He stopped hoping the pain would end, and instead, he basically told his brain, this pain, this is my new normal. Because once the brain accepts the suffering as the baseline, the panic just stops. I actually want to pause here for a second and just let this profound philosophical point sink in. True peace is on the other side of accountability. You simply cannot find real peace by seeking comfort and running away from your weaknesses. Whether your weakness is physical endurance, or maybe it's just the ability to speak up in a meeting at work, you have to face your trials head on, hold yourself accountable, and walk through the fire to find that peace on the other side. All right, moving on to section 3, defeating the blank mind.
So now we shift to the external front. To stop going blank, you have to start treating your brain like a muscle and literally take it to the gym. If you want to automatically generate those smart, savage replies under pressure, you must actively sharpen that rusty axe we talked about earlier. But how? Well, you can start with these daily exercises. Play chess. It forces you to analyze multiple moves before reacting, which, if you think about it, is exactly what a good communicator does. Solve Sudoku or a Rubik's Cube to maintain sharp alertness. Do basic math daily to keep those logical pathways firing. And most importantly, practice situational awareness. Ask yourself things like, why did that happen? Or if I were in that situation, what would I do? By preloading your brain with these kinds of scenarios, it won't have to start from scratch when the pressure is actually on. Which leads us right into Section 4, sharpening your delivery mechanics.
Because here's the thing. Even the absolute sharpest reply completely fails if your delivery is slow or mumbled. Communication is surprisingly physical. So here is a highly effective 15-minute daily vocal fluency routine. Step 1. Hold a pen horizontally between your teeth and try speaking simple sentences. It literally forces your mouth muscles to work overtime. When you take the pen out, your clarity is going to absolutely shock you. Step 2. Exaggerate your mouth, lip, and jaw movements when you're practicing speaking alone. Yeah, I know it feels a little silly, but it stretches and strengthens those muscles, and that results in a stronger, crisper, and significantly more confident voice when you speak normally.
And remember, your brain is essentially an output machine based on what you input. If you haven't actually heard witty replies, your brain literally cannot create them out of thin air. You need to intensely observe the masters. Watch debates to study how people maintain their cool under heavy pressure. Watch highly charismatic celebrity interviews, like, say, actor Shah Rukh Khan, to study timing and unshakable confidence. Watch stand-up comedians to really understand how to deliver a punchline. And study great public speakers, but not just for their words. Look out for their deliberate pauses and their commanding body language.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the safe zone training. This is the crucial final step where relentless repetition meets a controlled environment. See, there is a massive danger in learning a new communication tactic and then immediately trying to use it in a high-stakes meeting or a fierce argument. That is the tough zone. If you fail there, it leads to deep embarrassment, which just reinforces that amygdala hijack we talked about earlier. Instead, you must intentionally practice in the safe zone. Argue playfully with your friends. Test out your pacing in casual chats where it doesn't really matter if you sound a little awkward. Talk to the mirror. Talk to your camera. You have to train your brain in a pressure-free environment so that when you finally enter high-pressure reality, your trained reflexes take over automatically. So the absolutely crucial point here is this: get in the arena. Whether you're trying to overcome the physical torture of Hell Week to become a Navy SEAL, or maybe you're just trying to survive a conversation with someone intimidating without your mind going completely blank, the underlying rule is identical. You cannot sit on the sidelines. You must willingly, intentionally step into the uncomfortable arena and face that friction.
Which leaves us with this final, pivotal question. Will you control your brain or will it control you? The tools are right in front of you. You know exactly how the hijack happens, you know how to build the baseline of mental toughness, and you have the daily mechanics to sharpen your mind and your voice. The weapon is yours to wield. It's time to start your training. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take these strategies right into your own arena today.